found me and I found you. It must be Wednesday and it must be time for engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to engagement. So I know you've heard it before if you've ever been on the channel here at Engagement. They say, Doug, you're a wedding officiant with a channel called Engagement. Is this just for people that are engaged? And I always say, heck no. Uh, Doug likes to talk about a lot of things, and rarely do I refer to myself in third party, but I just did. But I like to talk to people. I like to talk to people about whatever is engaging. And engagement in the dictionary says to come together and have a meeting. And that's exactly what I do. Now, on the rare occasion, this is the third year in a row we've done this, we have talked to people in the engagement realm, more specifically the pros that help support those that are engaged in getting married, pros that are of value, pros that I think that you should know, and pros that will bring that extra special comfort to your day. So today is no different. And I've got one guest today, and a really interesting guy at that. And we met by chance. And I absolutely fell in love with what he does and who he is because he's a great guy. And that person with the same last name as me, oddly enough, his name is Sean Robbins. And he is a DJ that I ran into. And I'll tell you the story when we get him in the studio. And I ran into Sean and we just clicked. And I can tell I think I'm a relatively good gauge on people, but he has decided to come along and have a little chit chat with me. And so, Sean, there you are.
Hey Doug, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm fantastic, thanks, man.
All tanned and back from a relaxing vacation.
I'm tanned, yes. Well, just it won't last long in this bleak southwestern Ontario weather, but I'm holding on to it.
Good. Well, as a lot of wedding pros should do this time of year before the wedding season really kicks off, is get a vacation, right? Get some downtime because when you get on the plane, the steward says to you, put on your own air mask before you put on someone else's. So if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't be the optimum that we are for weddings and events. So thanks for coming on.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
As I was telling the fine folks, we met by chance at a wedding.
That's right.
It was, I think it was like June or July. And I roll up with Whitney Houston blaring on my tunes as I was singing along. And there you were in the basically in a driveway is where we were for a wedding. And this is a shot. I creeped your page. That's the spot.
That's right. Well, of course, it was COVID, right? This was a COVID wedding, right?
It was a COVID wedding, yeah. And I show up and you hand me the mic and the mic is ready to go. And you know what you're playing, you know what the cues are, you know how to handle yourself professionally. And that is such a key portion of a service and for the party as well. And then we got chit-chatting and said, who we are. And you handed me your business card or your wallet after the wedding. And I looked at your last name and it said Robbins with 2 B's. And I'm like, well, I'm a Robbins with 2 B's. So you're basically, a brother from another mother as far as I'm concerned.
That's right.
So, excellent. Wedding season is upon us. I know that you are, like myself, well booked in advance. But I want people to understand how important it is to have a really good pro or pros at their wedding, and especially when it comes to music, because you and I, my friend, are big music lovers, and you realize it's important that sets the tone, it sets the mood, and you do that very well. You have a great musicality. You understand, the vibe of the room, the feel that they want. So tell me what you do. Tell the fine folks how you do it, and enlighten us.
Sure. I'm very blessed that I came into the DJ role about 4 or 5 years ago now, but I was a lead singer for 26 years in a corporate party band. And one of those jobs is, as the lead singer, is to keep the dance floor going and to engage with people and to make sure that it's the best party they've ever had, So it was a natural fit for me to come over to being a DJ. And my goodness, people really enjoy that master of ceremonies part that is really second nature to me, being a lead singer and an entertainer. I think there's not there's not that many in the business they do just the music, where I offer myself as a master of ceremonies. And it's important to me the flow of the day. And I know you and I would agree on this, as the music and our professionalism and guidance is what helps them. Hopefully they only get married once. We do this every weekend, nonstop. So weddings don't tend to change as far as how the day should go. So I very often will do the ceremony music. We'll flow right into the dinner music and the cocktail hour. Then I usually am in charge of getting the speeches going and doing a little bit of host duties to, rules of the night, and if there's any fun games to play with the bride and groom before we get started. Get them all fed. That's another part. If it's a buffet, it's my job to get each and every table up there to get them to eat. And then we'll get our first dances in, and then we're going to start the party. Well, all that I want the bride and groom not to think. I want them to enjoy their day. You give me a detailed itinerary, and I live by that. It might go off, as you know, by 10 or 15, 20 minutes, but we'll make it happen and execute the night for you, or the day. So my day can be from 2 p.m. till 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we just make it flow. I don't want them to worry. I want them to sit back and enjoy this special day and not worry about what's going to happen next. I'm going to take care of it.
Agreed. It needs to be their special day, because it's again, we hope only one time they do this, and they come to us as pros to help them with that, the flow of what's going to happen, when things should happen, where they should happen, and how they should happen. So
I've watched you in action. Of course, you'll do a rehearsal as an officiant, and I really suggest, if there's a tip, I know we can talk about tips from pros. I used to not always go, because you can give me those 4 or 5 songs that you're going to march down the aisle to and get pronounced to, and I can make that all happen seamlessly. But even I'm starting to go to all the rehearsals and offer the music the night before, simply because we all know what to expect at that point. I think the rehearsals are a very, very important part of the, especially your end of it. And you and I tie together, because I'm doing the music. We get microphones that work perfectly. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you and your audience. No matter how successful I've been as a DJ, each and every ceremony gives me worms. And I say that because it's the most important part of the day. Have I ever, I can't have a song go backwards. I can't have a power outage. I can't have that microphone that I've given to you. Don't forget that part. So it's very important for me to execute the ceremony music and the sound system and everything that goes with it flawlessly. The rest of the night, if we're in the middle of a dance floor packed reception and they don't like a song, sure, we can start another one, but we don't do that in the middle of a ceremony. So
no, the service must go on. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because it is important to have someone behind the deck, as it is, to make sure that the microphone is live when it needs to be live, and it's turned off when I'm over doing the signing. And because what you don't know, unless you're in the front row and you're able to hear this, is that there's very likely going to be comments from the couple.
Oh, sure.
After the service that we don't want people to hear. Things like,
that's right.
Oh shit, I'm glad that's over.
That's exactly
right.
The little things of that, or just fading out a song. It's funny when a bride and groom, when a bride and groom walk up to you, or the wedding party comes first, the gentleman, and we know the order of things. Just stopping dead a song. I've been to some ceremonies and seen some DJs, and it's got a flow. I'll even, and I know you do this in a rehearsal, they need to slow down. They need to, you got a 3 and a 4 minute song, and we're going to get about 18 seconds out of it. It's silly to go to the next one. So slow down in the aisle at certain spots. I know you educate them that. I do, if the officiant hasn't, and enjoy stretching that out a little bit and enjoying the music that goes with it, hand in hand with your great service, right?
Yeah, exactly. I always roll my eyes at any DJ or a friend that is pretending to be a DJ when they stop the music cold when the bride
and loud
down front.
Right.
And I tell every couple this, and you know this as well, because I told you this and you rolled your eyes at me when I said it, but I need 30 to 40 seconds on the back end of them arriving and seeing each other, because they've not seen each other yet. Maybe they have, I don't know, but we need that 30 to 40 seconds of that in continuous music, just to help set the mood, help them to relax a little bit, drop the shoulders, be a little more calm, because they're about to make a commitment that hopefully they only make once in their life. And being relaxed means you're not going to rush through it. And we all take a deep breath and we all exhale, and then we can remember what's going on, and it has a lot more gravitas to the moment. So, and you as a pro know that you need to not just stop the record when it's not, you're not scratching it off.
Well, and you and I work with different people every week. You work with a different DJ every weekend. I work with I'm hopeful when I see your smiling face come across the room, and we recommend each other. Uh, but when you get a great officiant that can, I know you're very good at it, to give me the nod. Just
Mhm.
exactly. I mean, there's a
Yep.
lot going on behind the scenes with wedding professionals, that people, this art of throwing a wedding from the marriage itself, the your end of it, right through to the end of the night with me, is very, very honed and well crafted, and hopefully you don't notice any of it when that music usually goes down to nothing when, as that bride and groom arrive to you. That's because you've given me a very slight nod, and
Mhm.
we'll have discussed that. And there's many great officiants out there, and there's many great DJs. So
Yeah, exactly.
if you can work in sync with your photographers, with your, I call ourselves the staff. I'm like you. I'm in a black and white suit every time I do it, no matter what the occasion is. I dress up for their event, because I should. I even try to get a matching pocket puff to the girls' dresses that
There
they
you go.
and we really try to make their day seamless and flawless, and the whole staff. I call the staff, thanking the kitchen staff as part, the people that give you the great meal, the photographer that knows how to get out of the way,
Mhm.
and get that great shot, right down to if sometimes there's a wedding coordinator, and I think that's a great job that helps you and I out a lot, but very often there isn't. It's sort of in this end of Southwestern Ontario, you don't see as many wedding coordinators that are there just for that job all day. Well,
Yeah.
with then it's mine and your job to coordinate this wedding for them. And
Mhm.
that's where I feel I'm a bit of a DJ wedding coordinator, because from my job, we'll take it over, and so will you. You guide them. I've watched you in action. You guide them from start to finish. So
You have to. You have to. So I went through and pulled some pictures because people need to realize where you're at and what you do, and it's important for you to have the vantage point of the service, so when someone gives you the nod or gives you the look that the microphone needs to be turned up a little bit more, or hot.
yeah,
So I've got a few here that this is ideal vantage point for you. You can see that you're not in on the service, you're far enough away that you can see what's going on, and you can see the nod.
yeah,
Very
that's
important.
that's that's a wonderful, lot of outdoor stuff, and of course, you and I have to deal with weather.
Hmm.
I can't tell you how many times in that black and white suit I've been in 40-degree weather. As much as I've got this tan, we're standing out there a lot longer than the wedding party is. Of
Yeah.
course, unloading equipment and getting it all set up, and then very often, the wedding you just showed, I remember having to run from. That was about a half hour away from the actual venue for the dinner and the reception. So I'm fast to jump in a car, get that stuff torn down, and beat everybody there, so that I can have some smooth jazz playing when they walk in the door.
Absolutely. You got to have that. And you got to have music before the service. You got to have music during the service that's selected by the couple. You got to have music on the way out. And you have to have music when they arrive. It just sets the mood, and that's what music does.
Yeah, it,
So,
it, it does. And if it goes with a beautiful day, like shown in that picture, you're exactly right. And a lot of brides and grooms will go, well, I want these three songs. Again, you're talking people from geez, I got married at 19. That's not that common anymore, but from their 20s to their 40s on their first wedding, and they don't realize that you need that. I carry all of that music, of course, for the light love songs and the atmosphere, because people are seating. You can't just have dead air ever.
no.
That's my enemy, is dead air. So,
Yeah. And when you have dead air like that, people tend to either whisper because they're afraid to say anything loud, or just the opposite. They're extremely loud, and
yeah, that's right.
it's like the grade 8 dance before it starts, and you don't want a grade 8 dance. So here's another great shot too, and I know this spot as well because I've done a few weddings here.
Yes.
That is the Sarnia
Sarnia,
Tennis.
Sarnia Riding Club, the tennis
Yep,
club. That's
yep.
right.
That's
Beautiful
behind the
spot.
courts.
Awfully windy there, but I often feel bad for you officiants. Thank God you and I don't have a lot of hair to blow around, but it's beautiful on the lake. But weather, I find with venues, when we have to deal with the weather, and I think you can be the calming nature. I've seen you in action outside, is to be that calming person to them, and to work with the coordinator, saying, hey, I need a little more weight on this thing, or this trellis is
Yeah,
going to tip over. And I know that you think about that thing from start to finish. We all want to make their day perfect, right?
absolutely we do. That's what we're there. That's what we love doing weddings. Here's another great spot that I've been so many times.
Oh, bogeys.
Bogies.
Yes, yes. I'm pretty much the house guy out there right now. It's an amazing spot. Again, can be really warm, but they all can be in the sun.
Uh-huh.
But it's a great place to be. It
Yeah,
really is.
it is. So, I mean, people that know me know that I do a lot of selfies, but I think that, my brother from another
I,
mother is
I think
probably
I'm
rivaling
close.
me.
I'm close.
You're getting close because you have this one here.
That's just a little wedding at the Dante Club with about 300 people. And you
Yeah,
know
look
what?
at them,
I
all
called them
ages. You've
in.
got all ages out on the dance floor.
That is the real art, and I told you that I still perform in a band that has to do from 7 years old to 71. When I do a lot of family resorts and such, where the spread is huge of the ages, and that is the art there, to be able to not alienate the young people early, but have mom, dad, and your older aunts and uncles really enjoy themselves. That particular one you saw there was an Italian wedding, so I will research the best Italian songs with the bride and the groom, and to drop those in there to give the cultural aspect if they want that to their Portuguese, Italian, doesn't matter. I'll do it all and make sure I've got some of their great hits, right?
Absolutely, it is. It's important to know your audience, right? We always say that. Another selfie here.
There's
I
another one.
love the hat.
Yeah, that was my new neon lit up hat. So that's the Gateway Room up in Sarnia. Yeah.
Yep. And another selfie.
Another
I'm
selfie.
telling you,
Yeah,
creeping
I
into my
ask them
territory,
each and
buddy.
every time, Doug, to jump in and do that. And I get more people. I get hired almost entirely off of recommendations and certainly Facebook. My page, Sean Robbins Song Machine. Why I why I take those is funny enough. They always come to me and say, "Well, geez, we were on your page."
Mhm.
And when we saw there's awful, as you know, there's video along with those too of when I get the dance floor going. I want them to see what they're truly going to get.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
those are genuine smiles and happiness. And you do that with I see you take a selfie with every couple
Every couple.
you marry, and they're not faking the smile. They've enjoyed your company. I've watched your service and I know why they enjoy it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Um, I want to break in here and talk about some tips because I'll come back to some more of your great photos and great events you've done. But it's important. I mean, I've assembled these pros for this expo to talk about things that they know best. You've never gotten married. You won't know all of the ins and outs. You won't know that you need to have a PA system at an outdoor wedding. Even if
Right.
it's only
And
10 people.
and
And
hydro.
hydro, yes, you just can't plug that into the current bush.
Yeah.
You got to have certain things like I always tell couples, have your license ready. And if you could leave some sort of heavy something or other, a lamp, a rock, whatever you want at the table for signing, because I need to put the license someplace and it could blow away.
Yeah.
The last thing you want it to do, if you're at the Sarnia Riding Club, is have it blow in the water. Right? I'm not going to go in after it.
That's right. That's right.
Well,
You're gonna look at me and send the DJ.
Yeah, I might go in, but I mean, it's going to depend on the couple.
That's right.
So those kind of tips that people don't think about, and when you deal with a pro or pros, you get those. So I want to come back and get your tips right after this.
Absolutely.
And as always, our pro tip is sponsored by With This Ring. It's a blatant plug, but I gotta get it while I can.
That's all right.
Yeah. So what's your favorite tip for couples and or events? Now I've said this on a few of the broadcasts. You're having a wedding event, right? If you're watching this and you're not having a wedding, but you're having an event, a corporate event, right? A bar mitzvah, a birthday party, it's still an event. Just take the wedding portion. Don't put on a white dress.
Listen, New Year's Eve, I just threw my own signature New Year's Eve, which I'll plug a little every year at Bogies.
Nice.
And of course I DJ it. And it's just a wedding reception. We're having dinner, we're dressing pretty, we're gonna dance.
Yeah.
We're just not having the first dances,
Exactly. Exactly.
I do have the tip. I mean, I have so many, but I give you one that I think is important. And I don't want this to sound arrogant, but this is if you hire me. I can't speak for all DJs, but
they're not all created equal.
That's right. Your brother, your cousin, your sister, they're not good MCs. I do this every weekend, and I can really make your room rock and add humor into it. And I have a well-canned bunch of games and speeches, and I can move quickly. I know how to talk in a microphone so that you can hear me. Um, if you're saying no, my brother's going to do the emceeing, it's not a problem for him to do a little bit of it, but you really should let the host, which should be your DJ, who's well trained to do these things, and keep the flow of the evening going, and not have any dead air, and just move it along at an exciting pace. I think the biggest compliment I ever get is you're such a great MC. There, we can all play the music and make you dance. It's what you're going to do in between for me. And I think that's I really suggest, if you, I can't say if all DJs are like that, but if you get me, then I would prefer to be your MC. We can certainly split those duties a little bit. When I bring somebody into the room, with that bride and groom coming into the room, it's all right, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, here they come. Well, I've got that voice, and I will thunder that room. And I've seen it handed off from me a few times because the sister wants to do it, and believe me, it's not
it makes a big difference when you have someone that knows what's going on, what should happen in the flow to keep things moving. So that's a great tip. My tip is very similar to that. You might have a friend or a family member that is great at playing music, but they're not a DJ. They don't know to let the music play across the end. They don't know they don't know how to look at it, how the cues work. I did 2 weddings in the end of last year that had friends DJ, and my most embarrassing moment, and I have had a lot of embarrassing moments, by the way, was when between songs they were using Spotify, a commercial came on.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, and not to say that we don't use Spotify, but it's premium editions,
Premium.
and they all have to be downloaded. The day and age of carrying records around and CDs, as you know, I keep a device on Spotify as well, but I have that library of 1,500 songs that I know work. And not to
Exactly.
mention, you know, I that was my second tip. If I was allowed to, the second was, know your cousin who has that big speaker is not going to DJ it. I bring out about $7,500 worth of sound and lights to each and every wedding.
Mhm.
There's no way that somebody has this in their basement just to help you out. And you know, when you consider, and these aren't unlegitimate costs, I'm not putting the industry down, but if you're paying anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 for a video person in photography, $1,500 for a DJ who really is a part of every inch of your day, and there is no party without the DJ.
That's right. And there's no wedding without an officiant.
There's no wedding without an officiant. So
Yeah.
I would say the DIY stuff.
Find other ways to DIY. Find other ways to. I always, and I hate to pick on the cake makers out there, but I always say, I shouldn't cost less than your cake, right?
Right.
Maybe DJ shouldn't cost less than your cake.
Yeah.
And I love cake. I'm not kicking down any cake here, but let's look at this in perspective. And actually, I'm working on a guide. So all your tips that have rolled through here, and any additional ones that I get, will be put into a downloadable PDF booklet that anyone that's watched the series can download. And in there, I've reordered the original, the knots and all those great Martha Stewart guides to say, this is the order of what you should book. And I've moved DJ and officiant above ordering your cake.
Yeah. Well,
I got it. You need
location.
Honest,
I love cake makers too, and I love the cake. But there are some things I think you could agree with. I got married in 1989, a long time ago, and I mean, the cake cutting portion of it only happens at one part of the evening, and nobody even goes over anymore if they even remember to cut the cake.
Yeah.
And the pictures of it. There's one of those. I mention this all the time because they talk about the cake, and again, I'm not trying to take any business from cake makers.
No.
Do amazing work, but it's almost a tradition that's gone to the dodo.
Yeah.
We should cut the cake, and then there's just usually the photographer and the bride and the groom. In my day, that was the whole wedding party gathering around to take those pictures, just like they did at the bride and groom's first dance. It's not like that, and I can speak of the last 75 weddings.
Yeah, but still have cake.
You still got to have a
Please
cake.
have cake.
I don't think it's the event. You're right. I mean,
I don't want a wedding fruit kebab.
No. Well, there's cupcakes. They do a lot of different things these days, but the actual cake cutting ceremony is really seemed to have slipped away. It's one thing I did mention when I came into this, because I thought it was a big deal. Used to even have a song for the cake cutting portion of it.
Yeah.
And it's not, I don't even often know it's even happening. They don't even tell me or put it on the itinerary.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes it happens very last minute, very rushed because grandma's leaving early,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
we got to cut the cake real quick before she goes. So, but yeah, having a DJ there with the proper sound system and microphones with fresh batteries, and a backup microphone, and please don't drop the mic because that's an expensive thing to do. And
Wish
lighting.
people would learn how to talk in it, Doug. I
Well,
always I always say to this, I always say to people, I say, listen, put it as close to your bottom lip as you can. And I know they don't do this all the time, but I try to instruct them and they go, oh yeah, I know how to use a microphone.
yeah,
And I say, if you can't hear you, they can't hear you.
exactly.
And it's fun. As soon as they say, yeah, I'm a pro, they get the microphone and they put it out here and they go, well, anyway, I was going to tell you about Uncle John and I'm so proud, so they, again, these people do this once a year or they go to 3 or 4 weddings in a year as a guest. We're involved. There's a lot of, as you know, your job is huge behind the scenes. So is mine. I work with a bride for almost a month before I get to the actual event, making sure the music is absolutely perfect. And not only do we need the music, but we need the artist because there's so many different versions of songs.
Yep.
And so many times I have to recommend music because they haven't thought about that interlude music. I'm fine. I think that the busiest time of the day that it makes atmosphere. I've heard a lot of DJs. They said the guy didn't or girl didn't play any dinner music. That is so important.
Yeah.
That atmosphere that we create during dinner because that's almost 2 hours of music usually.
Yeah, you can't have dead sound. You have to have it's. I mean, I wouldn't host a party in my home without having some music playing.
Right.
In the house in the background. It just helps to relax people and ease. It really helps to correct their mood too. So
it does, and I think we do these obviously in the summer and in the heat so often. They've been with you a long time. A lot of people think they always say, "Geez, you're going to play till 1." Of course, I'll play till 1. That's or whenever the bar closes at that particular facility. But it doesn't go that often. I've had weddings finish at 10:45, and they've had a great time. You got to remember, we start them dancing at 7:30 or 8 o'clock. That's 4 hours of solid dancing, about 600 songs. When we used to go to the clubs, when there was clubs, you and I, when we were young, we would only go for 4 hours. That was it. So, I always say they have to have their wedding experience. They've been there since 2 p.m., sweating through your ceremony. Then they've had dinner. Now they're ready for the couch. I got to get them up dancing, and we do. They're usually exhausted by 10 or 11 o'clock. Other tip is don't beat a dead horse to death. If the party's over and they've had their experience, they felt they've had a great time. It doesn't matter what time it is.
yeah,
It can be. I've had some successful ones done by 10:30, 10:45, and that's okay. That's okay.
yeah. Some of us older folk too.
That's right. I go to
there's
bed
a
at
lot of
10
memes
o'clock
going
when I'm
around
not
on
DJing.
TikTok. Yeah, we start early, and
Yeah.
it's we still have as much fun as you young kids do. We just started at 2 o'clock.
That's right. That's right. And think of everybody in the room. I did a wedding this summer in Grand Bend in a beautiful environment, and we all, I'm a fan of hip hop and some of the deeper dance music. Don't demand your DJ to start playing that at 8 o'clock because you will alienate your aunt and your grandma. Give them those songs that they can get a few dances in and have some fun and start the deep dancing with your younger wedding party somewhere around near the end of the night in the last couple of hours. You got to have some slow dances. As you know, some guys that are older from our generation don't get up and dance at all until it's a slow song. So,
Or I've had a few drinks.
or have had a few drinks,
Yeah.
and that's changed the industry, of course, because people don't drink and drive, and the tolerance is so low that's why the parties end up, and liquor is expensive on top. It's a long day for people. So keep that in mind when you're wondering why they're going home at 10:30. They've been there since 2 p.m.
Exactly. Yeah, just because you're ready, geared up and ready to go, doesn't mean they are. So here's a few shots I want to show as well so I mean, there's you bring lighting, you add the mood lighting to it, affect the dance floor. You've got lights on tripods, and that's
they're not clubs. So I actually I took this on my band experience house because I played in one of those bands with all that big lasers and lights. And to me, it's part of the show. It stimulates all the senses, right? And that was the Sarnia Golf and Curling Club. Incidentally, I do a lot of corporate Christmas parties there and weddings. These are halls. They don't have built-in lighting systems. So now, in fact, I saw a big a big show here at the Dante Club, and the guy had one light. He was a DJ from out of town, and I actually have separate lighting just for the dance floor on separate tripods besides the ones behind me, just to try. I've got to create a nightclub. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't have it at your curling club. They don't have it at your golf course. They
at the Dante, even these pro places like Bogies and across Chatham, all the places, doesn't matter, your CBD club, they don't have built-in disco lights.
No, that's all extras. You have to order that, have it arranged, contract that out. You get the hall.
I hear that most. I think about second most, I guess, about the compliment is I hear two things. Sean, you played something for everybody. You had something for everybody. I mean, they all got their turn to party with different styles of music, and they really enjoy the lights and the sound. And if it's allowed, then I even have lasers with smoke. Not all halls can let you use smoke, but whatever they can, I love, and of course there's a lot of kids. Guess where the kids all go when I turn those lights on? All the little ones are always over. They're always over with me.
A few more shots. This is there you are on a boat.
That's the Duke d'Orleans cruise boat. I do a lot of those. Funny enough, you can get married on that boat. That's that big 200 plus person ship that's in Sarnia Bay. And that's a lot of fun to do those. Sometimes daytimes, but of course the captain can marry you if maybe, or a lot of people bring their own officiant, of course.
And then here's another one, so you can see the light effect that's spilling over. We already saw the hat here, but you can see the lighting that is casting out under the area, and you want the lights turned down in the hall anyhow, right? So you need to have some lighting that's going to help.
I demand that. So I mean, that's another great thing. I mean, if there's a young DJ that ever watches this, the whole atmosphere, I don't blame it on somebody else. Well, it would have looked better if the lighting was down. It would have looked better if they would have done this. I go to make that. I represent the bride and the groom in that hall. So I will immediately go find out where all the lighting, and believe me, you've seen it. There's a whole lot of switches for some of those halls.
Yeah.
I will go test that earlier in the evening to see where I want it exactly, because they're not always labeled correctly, and I've got to go through a lot of switches. But to make your night and my night effective, I will look at every single detail. If there's a drink spilled on the floor, I'm the guy that runs and gets the mop, and because I don't want somebody with a cut foot on my dance floor.
Right.
Exactly. So I become part of your staff of the hall, part of the staff of the that would include you and myself and the photographer and the caterers. We all work and we all see each other so very often. It's amazing how many times I come across our friends at Burns Catering, Joe, it's all the same folks. I think there's a young lady I met from Chatham, the Paper and Bride. She was that big Italian wedding. She was the wedding coordinator. It's a small world of us, and there's only so many great pros out there.
Yeah, it's great. I know for me, when I show up and I see other pros that I know what to expect, I know that it's going to be a lot less stress on me and a lot more fun. So,
as soon as I see somebody I know like you, I know that it's going to go smoother for me.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day,
that's the hope, right?
Yeah, we're all a little selfish. I just want to have a good day, and I don't want anybody looking back. What did the DJ just do there?
Yeah. So I mean, if you're looking for a pro, get a pro. Don't get a cousin or your neighbor's.
Well, you get what you pay for, right, Doug?
Exactly. If it's free, you're gonna get free. Actually, at a wedding where the DJ couldn't get wasn't a DJ, it was a friend of the DJ, couldn't get the music to start for the bride, and she was going down the aisle and wrong song, and then couldn't find the right song. It was very awkward.
It's very awkward.
And awkward moments just make me laugh.
Well, it's not to say that I haven't made mistakes and those things haven't happened.
We all have.
It is technology and things can go wrong. I've had the power go out right in the middle of a big dance party, and it's a pro that can step up in those moments and still make everybody comfortable and make it all work, right?
Absolutely. Now, I want people to know that you do come to our neck of the woods, but you are in a different area. That's his number right there if you want to get a hold of him.
I'm in Chatham. I've got several weddings. I do all of London, Paris, Ontario. In 23, I'm super booked and booking 24 right now. But I'm in Chatham 3 or 4 times this summer. But I think we see all the venues at one point.
Yeah, it's perfect. Thank you very much for coming on.
Oh, my
Thank you for
pleasure.
what you do. You do a great job making sure that everyone has a good time, that the wedding is seamless, and you put us at ease when you place, the music or music. I don't know if we still call it that.
Yeah.
To make sure that there's a little bit of, music for when people arrive, and music while people sign, and music while people are, getting their seats and having cocktails. So it's all really important to have that, because when you have cocktail music, it's not usually lyrical. If it is, it's
That's
not
right.
loud lyrical. It's something that suits. So what suits. You have a great musicality background. You know what works. You know what's going to fit the mood, and you're assessing the crowd as they roll in, and you do a great job.
Well, listen, I hope you and I cross paths this summer. I'm sure if we compared our calendars, we probably are. So, because
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
always
sure we will.
recommending you,
We'll have a
that's
drink.
why.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, great DJ. Look him up. Until next time, thank you for coming to Engagement.